my goodness. Oh gosh. It is so good to be here. There is an alternative to not living. Okay, good thing I'm not cloud. My goodness. Woohoo. So we were discussing that being persistent in your work and keeping uh, going forward, even when things get a little tough. We were mentioning that sometimes during the year, we have a busier time and sometimes we have a slowdown time. And what do you do in those times? The times when it's really slow, it's actually good because then you can do the stuff that you can't do when it's really, you have 10, 20 gigs a weekend or something like that. You have to, have all your stuff ready to go. But when you're off, you can start fixing some of those problems that came up in the midst of the busy weekends, like, oh my God, that mic is not working. You send that mic out to get fixed and then, or buy a new one. Now you have it for a backup. So there's constant. This is a constant thing. Always, somebody ran over my cord and it's cut. Do I either fix it or do I get a brand new one? And it would really depend on what's the safest way to do it, or if because you want good electricity coming to your event, and also you don't want to do any. So these are little things, and yeah, they're very important to a business. It's the same way with my company. At one point, balloons, like if we do balloon animals, balloon things like that, balloons go bad. They just do. I mean, I've lost thousands of dollars worth of balloons because they go bad or they get hot or whatever and they break. Yet the next gig, you're going to still have to have some more because that's what you're selling. Clowns are selling balloons and face painting and all this. And it doesn't matter. They don't care what you have to do to be there on time, ready to go, and to do your job. Uh, so a good example right now is you got some gigs coming up where you have to use your new wall, and now two or three people want it the same weekend, and you can't put it in three places. So the decision, where do you put it? I mean, where do you put? Who do you give it to? Is it That's a good question for you right now. Which one would you give it to? The first one who came and said, "I guarantee I want to book it," or would you wait
Well,
for
yeah, it's usually a first come first serve. At this in particular situation, they both shared interests, but nobody's really locked down anything. So I haven't really pushed too hard because my first show was in October, and I have the guys coming over today so that we can learn how to operate it, right? So set it up and operate it. And once that's done, and I feel comfortable with it, then I'll reach out to both clients and say, well, this is what it is. I didn't expect it to be in such high demand for this weekend. So it's like a first come first serve. So um, they're both clients. One is through like one of my business partners that we work with, and the other one is a long time 3 year business that I've used. So they both shared interests, so they're both like equally like important as far as the business is concerned, but at the same time it costs money. I need educated people to set it up because it could be a hazard, right, if we don't have it set up properly and weighed down and all those kinds of things. And we still have a few more expenses to understand before we start pricing it properly, like weights and structures and rigging and there's a few things involved. So but as far as clients concerned, they're both equally important in my mind. One did express that their budget wasn't as much. Well, they both kind of said that it depends on budget. So we'll just take it from there. But that decision will have to be made uh, next couple of weeks because October is around the corner, and then my company is only so big, so I have to then make decisions on the most educated people going into the right places because this weekend I have longtime corporate clients, multiple longtime and I don't want to lose any of those. I mean, my blueberry farmers use me multiple times throughout the years, and if I can't deliver for them in October, then who knows if they'll stay with me the rest of the time. Even though they haven't confirmed their details, they've expressed interest and told me to lock it in, but or hold on to it or whatever. But again, I'm growing that weekend. You get 30,000 shows and they're all in one day. What can you do?
Well, one thing, like you just said, is troubleshoot before it happens. The one thing that you could, when I know you know what to do, but a lot of people might not know is right now for the next few weeks, keep on working on getting all the statistics of your wall. What do you need? Making sure you buy all the stuff for your wall that you have it ready for October, because sometimes supply chains don't have what you want when you want it.
Yeah, you could want truss and then aluminum from China just not being produced or something like that, and then well, what are you gonna
Right, then you don't have all the tools you need to do the event. So that's just another thing. We were talking again earlier about what things you got to do to keep up your business, and persistence is one thing. And when there's a lull, you want to work on the things you can't work on when it's too busy. Sometimes it's just too busy. If and sometimes Scott's going to be too busy to do something else. And I'm sure probably most of you have come up to the thing that they just like the wall. They want this one DJ, but he's already booked. And then well, we can't get you that DJ. He's already booked, but we want him. Say, well, we can't do it. And sometimes we can ask the other people would they give him up, but if they wouldn't, we don't do that. We wouldn't, even
Yeah,
if they gave
it's
us more
first come,
money.
first serve. Yeah.
We're yeah, first come, first serve. And they've got the contract. And and I have asked people because the entertainer came up to me and said, "Can I get out of this gig?" Now, I don't like that. I hate it. Yet I understand every once in a while. I've got this $10,000 gig, and you got me on $100 gig, or something like that. And as a owner of a company, I would say, I understand that. I say, and what I really do say, I'm going to ask the client if they're going to be okay with that. And if they're not, you're going to stick it out, or I won't use you again. That's just the way it is. Because you have to be dependable, because that's one of the things. That's why we hire you. You're going to go show up at your event. You're going to do whatever, and you're not just going to, I wanted to go to the beach. So you're not gonna mess over my company just because of a bad thing. Now, and if they say I'll deal with whatever your rules are, and I thank you for asking, then we have no problem, because you got to be you got to be a commodity. I mean, as a DJ, no, they wanted me for this wedding, so I'm going to stay. Well, we'll give you twice as much. It's like, your reputation, just think of how many hundreds of thousands of dollars we spend throughout our career on our reputation, on our advertisement, on us being in events. I mean, we're talking 100, 200, even $300,000 in a career at least for like an entertainer. The advertisement we put on our name, one little gig that gives you $10,000 is not anything. It's nothing. A $10,000 gig is, shoot, I've made $10,000 for myself on a weekend before. So it's not worth because 40 years of you. So it's your reputation is what you got. So you always got to take care of that. So I went on a tangent there, but the truth is, what we were talking about at the beginning is being persistent and understanding that when you come up on a situation where you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I have no work at all. eh, That's when, your brain goes, well, where am I going to get the next paycheck or something? Yet, I think the best way is just bunker down and do the stuff it takes to do the big gigs that are coming up. Because if you're in business a long time, you've got gigs. I mean, literally gigs throughout the year booked. So get ready for those. Get your stuff all, if your equipment is all messed up, get it better or buy new equipment and understand how to use your equipment. So it is a constant. It's a constant, but you're still in business. Even when you're not making money, you're still in business because, like, Scott and I have put hundreds of thousands of dollars out on advertisement or some kind of thing like that. I did phone books when you probably don't even know what a phone book is, but when the phone book was there, and uh, even people, are advertising on your cell phones now. So whoever gets to Google ads, there's so much to go. And Scott's got so many avenues where he's doing on. And if you're not doing some of the other stuff, advertising, and you don't have enough work, that may be where you need to look at next. But just keep working and don't. And
Yeah, the thing is, right? Like
there we go.
if you have downtime, what are you going to do with that downtime? Like when COVID hit, like everybody had downtime. What I did in COVID was I studied on my education. I studied on how to get my own business going, how to do how to get the systems up and running, how to send contracts, how to make all these different things happen, especially like a website. I bunkered down on the marketing. Now that may not be your thing, but if you have downtime, what can you do if your goal is to build your business, what can you do to keep that moving? Or maybe you'd want to schedule like something else, during like for us during the summer it's kind of slow. So maybe we could, that's when I plan my vacations, that's when I plan my downtime. But at the same time, like there's always something that needs to be fixed or improved, and it's constant. Even I was telling Jeff before we got on this call that I spend a lot of time prompting my AI voice on my website and I tested it, and it worked out pretty good. But the first call it got, it didn't get the name and number because they got a simple objection of I don't want to give you your name, and they just left it alone, which was really polite of them, but it doesn't do us any good, or that's not the reason why it's over there. Like, so I can't even call this person back and be like, hey, how'd you like the AI voice? Like, you didn't get any of the information. So it's always correcting, like going back, double checking, make sure it works. And then, the next time someone uses it, it's definitely going to get it now. And you might be like, oh, that's really aggressive. Well, what's the whole point? The whole point is for me to build a business, right? Like some people don't want to send more than 3 emails because they think they're harassing somebody else. Well, let me tell you what, it takes 12, 15, 20 times of somebody seeing your business before they decide to go with it. And then there's another thing I was thinking about too, like, oh, you can't give me your prices before I talk to you. And it's like, nope, can't give you the prices. And like in an email or whatever. And like, oh, well, you just don't care about your customer. And then I say something like, I beg to differ. I beg to differ. Like I spent $15,000, $16,000 on an app to help you plan your big wedding day. Now, if that doesn't show like how dedicated I am to your day, I'm more dedicated to your day than you are. So like, and then it's all about your frame of mind too. Are you going to crumble when somebody gives you one objection? Or are you going to crumble when people say mean things to you on the internet? Like, is that going to just like get to you? People say mean things to me on the internet, like and people say mean things to me in person. It's just people just are weird sometimes. So if you're gonna let that like crumble you from getting to your goal, then what you ask yourself, maybe it's a different goal that you need to work on, right? Like what like are you willing to do what it takes to do it? I
There
know
you
that
go. That's what,
Tony
that's it.
Robbins. Tony Robbins, yeah, I don't know, like he has some sort of video going on, and I watched. I like Tony. He said everything that you desire is on the other side of what you don't want to do,
There you go.
and it stuck with me. And then there was something else I saw on one of these reels. He said, what was he? He said worry was just worshiping the problem. I was like, wow, that's so deep. so so if you guys are worried about something, like what are you worried about? What's the goal? Have you really thought about like what it's going to take to get to where you're going? Have you talked to somebody who's further along? Or are you just like, oh, I saw somebody else who was a DJ and he said something like somebody had told him, oh, that's what other DJs do. And then he went on a whole rant about like I'm not trying to be like no other DJ. Like I'm trying to stand out from what other people do. That's how you get booked, like being different than somebody else. Now, if somebody's doing something that's pretty mundane and that's, like standard of, like this is how you plug in a cord or something like that. But other than that, like, yeah, the guy, like, I should send a little message to that guy and be like, well, are you training your guys right? Like, training your guys on your way, right? Because if that's what they're, but I deal with people too that do all the crazy stuff. Like, what are you doing? That may make sense to you, your mind, but like, you got to get them to the right speed, right? Like this is how we're doing it, right? Like because there's no other company I've ever met that's created an app within the wedding industry that's like, oh, you can put your own logo on it and white label it, like, and that's what I was working on this morning, right? Like, oh, if you wanted to stand out and be different, like, how many people are offering an app at this level? Like, I know and understand there's companies out there, multi-billion dollar. It used to be like a corporate thing in order for you to get an app from them. Now, we can now do it at our level, and I did it before AI was building apps, right? So I have an app where, if you're a wedding vendor, you can put your logo on it, you give them a QR code, your leads a QR code, and then they can download it. And now you're forever in their phone, and you can send them little alerts like, how is your wedding planning going? And this is before they book, right? Oh, you've already given them a gift to help them, plan their wedding day. So that separates you from anybody else in your field if that's something that you're looking to do. So you can look up DJs in the Central Florida area and be like thousands of DJs, right? Like how does one get their page on the first of Google? How does one get selected out of thousands of others, right? How does that happen? How do you build a reputation that I booked one yesterday where he was like, oh, just they gave me your card, I saw your video, and they said you did their wedding. Like, I just want to book. Where do I sign? That wasn't like that 5, 6 years ago. Like, what are the goals? I mean, I want to find people that are motivated. What I'm finding these days are people that are just, what are they, bare minimums? Bare minimums. I can't motivate. Like, I'd like to motivate the bare minimums to do more, but I'm looking for like the aggressive type, or the ones that have bigger dreams, the ones that, you know, want to make a difference in the field, and then that's something I struggled with too. It was like, well, we're in this business, and like, how do you get across to these knucklehead DJs, right? Like, I guess, they're going to be what they are forever because they're so confident in what they do, and they have to be in order to run a room. So how does someone like me be like, hey, knock on the door, hey, yo, 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 it's okay. You don't have to go out there and puff up your chest. You can just, like, oh, you set yourself as a professional, but like, look, I did all my homework. I got all my ducks in a row. Like, you can just go out there and be like, you should be so grateful to be around me because I'm the only one that could do this. And that's such a narcissistic thing to say, but you could actually outwork that prick. I know narcissism's everywhere in the entertainment world. I'll get over it.
Yeah, there's that ego that comes up with people, and in my little company here, I don't mind people's ego so much as long as they can back up what their ego is saying. If they say they're the best, and I know they probably are the best, then I get them out. As long as the client, at the end of the day, the client says they are the best, and we want this guy back forever. I mean, because our average gig's 10 years to 20. So when we get a gig, we get it back usually an average of 10 years or more. So when you're putting out the people like what we're describing right here is someone, they do have a big ego. As long as you can keep that ego intact and they can show up to the event and not do blackball offenses like sticking their own card out or trying to take your client just because they're good. Uh, so for us as agents and also entertainers, we're both agent entertainer too. So we find these people and we work with them, but there's a fine line between ethics when we're doing this. And some people, and not all, and I wouldn't use them because they're not, even if they are the best at something, if they're not doing the ethical part, then you don't need them on your team. And sometimes we would rather have somebody who shows up, does exactly what they're supposed to do. The client loves them and they always want them back. It doesn't matter sometimes if it's the number one best, because the number one best, if they have that ego, they're not the best anymore. It knocks them down a level. To me, uh, I would rather go down to a B plus than an A who's so arrogant that he doesn't even think the people, his clients, he's too even good for the clients. And there's some of them out there that you're just lucky I'm here. I could be somewhere else. I'm so good. And then when that ego takes over, instead of going to the gig and saying, I'm going to do my best for this gig every single time I get on the stage, I'm going to be the best me. and it doesn't matter how much I'm paid, whatever, because it's my reputation and I'm going to make, I'm going to do the best. And that's the kind of entertainer I want on my team. I don't care if they're the number one best. If they're not to me the number one best if their ego knocks them down a notch. So I would say some of my team who's a B plus is much better than some of the A team in my area, like the Dallas area. If they're too arrogant, they're going to lose clients every once in a while.
Well, it's all about
Sorry
the
about that.
emotional intelligence. Someone talking to you?
Somebody called me, but I nobody's talking to me, but somebody's calling me because I I get those calls.
Well, we can basically wrap up. I think we've been on for a little while, so
Okay. Well, anyway, you people out there, keep trudging forward and keep on with the thing because that's how Scott made it. That's how I did it. We started with hardly nothing, and now look, we're here. I mean, we've got stuff,
he's here.
and
I'm here. You're there.
we're everybody's somewhere. Just keep going to the place you want to go, and if it's not, go find something else to do and find that because if you're really miserable where you're at, then truly for yourself and your happiness, start going in a different direction if this is not the place you want to be. Because being miserable every day of your life is not worth it. All right. Woohoo!
All right. Good
Yay!
night.